life is expensive. Housing is expensive, whether you are buying or renting. Right now, people are spending 50% or more of their income on housing alone. And I feel like I could comfortably say that right now may be the most difficult time to purchase a home ever. And I want to give 5 tips that helped me when I was purchasing my first home that, I just kind of thought about what I was going through. And if you're struggling with home ownership, maybe these tips would help you overcome that hurdle as well. Let's get into it. Let's start with number 1 because I think this is important to get out the way before we just dive into the actual numbers, programs, and things like that. This is really important, and I really want you to sit with that, and that is, it's not your fault. It's important that you don't fight 2 battles, the battle of buying a home and the battle of fighting against yourself. Let's not dwell over things that we can't control. So don't be mad at yourself that you didn't buy a home in 2011 when you were only 8 years old. There's nothing you could have did about it at the time. And yes, hindsight, what you know now could have been applied, but you weren't in a position, and if everyone knew then what they know now, then everyone would have taken advantage of it. The second part of that is you can't control the interest rate and you can't control the market. It is what it is. You can't make the interest rate go back down to 2% for you to take advantage of it. Unfortunately, that's just not how it works, and we can't predict the market as well. Yes, will we like rates to come down? Sure, but we don't know when that will happen, and we can't just operate and work out of the mindset that we're gonna say, okay, I'm gonna move when this happens. No, worry about what you can control. You can't control the market and you can't control interest rates. So once again, that's not your fault and nothing you can control about that. The past is the past, and sure, it would have been nice, but the next best time is right now. So don't beat yourself about what happened in the past and what you didn't do. It's not your fault. Now, number 2 is just as important, and that is, what do you want? A moving target is much harder to hit than a stationary object. So I want you to get really specific with what you want. In fact, I want you to write it down. Don't just say you want a house. Be super specific. Location, bedrooms, bathrooms, the school district matter, single family, multifamily, are you investing? Get really specific and write it down because it's going to be important for the future exercises. I actually still have notes from when I did this exercise back in 2016 or 2017. And it really helped me get clear. And it's a concept that I got from this book called The One Thing. I believe it's from Gary Keller. And you really want to zone in and focus on what exactly you want, because then it makes it that much easier to work towards. Because having a clear goal will allow you to get to your destination a lot quicker. And it's okay if that goal changes while you're working towards it, because you're still working towards that goal, or something, a deviation of it, something similar. But have a clear, precise goal. Now for number 3, we need to focus on what are your options. Now that you're exactly clear on what you want, what is available out there to help you get closer to this goal? For example, can you afford 20% down? Now, that question hits differently if I asked it to you before you got clear on your goals. So once you know the location, the area that you like to live in, the number of bedrooms, baths, maybe the school district, a single family, a multifamily, you have a better idea of what 20% is. So now you can work backwards to see, can you get to that 20%? Do you have it? Or how long will it take you to get to that 20%? And it's okay if you don't have it, because now you can look at what other options can help you get to 20%. Does this type of house, the goal that you set, require 20%? Or could you use something different like an FHA loan and put 3.5 to 5% down? But the only way you get there is because you were clear on your goals. So now that you're clear, look at what options fit into the line of achieving your goal. And if it doesn't work, don't dwell on it, move on. When you're considering what options are available to you, think about the financing as far as what type of loans. Do you need a first-time home buyer? Is there gonna be FHA? Can you afford to put 20% down? Also, does your job allow you to work remote? Maybe you can move to another state that is more affordable than where you live. I live in New York, where, I once considered investing in borderline states because of how expensive New York is. But the only way I did that was because I was clear on what my goal was. Now, number 4 is when we really get into the action. You figured out what your goal is, you know what your options are to achieve that goal. Now it's one step at a time. With your list of options, it's time to break down what that path looks like for each option, right? Let's, for example, say you're gonna put down 10%. Do you have the 10%? Great. Now you know your next option is gathering your bank statements, your W-2s, your pay stubs to get qualified by a lender and move forward. But if you don't have it, you know you need to put down 10% for the option that you want to achieve that goal. How do you get 10%? How long will it take you to get 10%? And work your way backwards once again. If that timeline of 10% doesn't match up with what you have planned, maybe you need to, shift the goal a bit or figure out a different option. If you still want to work with that 10%, do the math to see how long will it take you to get 10% based on your current expenses as well. If you're saving $300, $500 per month, which would give you $6,000 per year, does that add up to your 10% that you need to buy this home for this goal? And hey, maybe financing isn't the step that you currently need to work on because you have that secured, or that's a long-term process and you're already saving, but there's something else that you need to work on, right? The longer goal is here, but you're taking it one step at a time. Maybe it's you gathered your bank statements, the last 2 days of your pay stubs. Do you have your most recent W-2s? Did you file your taxes? What's your credit look like? Does the credit match up to what your goal is, right? So for FHA, for example, the minimum FICO score needed is going to be between 580 to 630. What's your current score? Do you need to work on that? Does that mean you need to pay off some debt? All these steps are super important, and just remember, it's one step at a time. The goal is here, but you're going to simply cross out all the steps needed to get to there. And last but not least, number 5 is make it a habit. These steps should be routine for you. And once you have a clear picture, you should revisit it again to make sure you're on track for the goal. The main thing, so once you have the precise goal, you write it down, and that's up top, and you have all the steps needed below to the bottom. And now if you're saving and you're supposed to save, $500 per month, you should make sure that it is routine and you're keeping track of what you are saving each and every month until you get to the percentage you need to acquire your goal. If it's regarding your credit, are you doing the necessary steps to maintain or improve your credit? All of these things are important, and make it a routine, a lifestyle. And before you know it, you're going to be crossing off these to-do list items, and you're going to be inching closer and closer to your goal. And by the time there's a shift in the market or an opportunity, you're going to be ready because you've already put these things into practice. So I hope these things help. They greatly helped me when I was trying to get clear on, achieving housing and, buying a home, buying my first home, buying my investment property. I always do this with any purchase, really just outline what I need to get done and take it one step at a time. And I don't worry about what the outside world has going on, things I can't control, only focus on what I can control within my sphere and go from there. So see you in the next video. Hope this helped. Peace.